Well, you are now inside Lady Charmaine and Girlfriends. I'm Lady Charmaine, and thank you so much for tuning in. Today is going to be a different type of show because we know everything that has been going on in our nation over the past 2 weeks. And yesterday, it really took me to the edge because when I found out that 3 more police officers was killed, I was so emotional. And so my girlfriends are in the studio with me because all 3 of us have African-American sons. I'm Lady Charmaine, and in the studio I also have Shari Wilson, also D. Aroki Asami. And I want you to tell me, how many boys do you have, Shari?
I have 6.
Oh, lift the mic up.
I have 6 boys.
You have 6 boys.
6, yes.
Woo, you have an D?
I can't top that. I have 1.
You have 1 son. And I have 1 son, and my son is 2 years old. And how old are your boys, Shari?
I have a 7-year-old, 8-year-old, 11, 12, 13, and 15.
Wow. So you have all the way up to the teenage years. And Shari, your son just turned 18? I mean,
No.
your son just turned 18?
Yeah, my son turned 18 earlier this year.
And so your son is an adult. And I want to give hats off to Davin. Davin is going to be on the show in the near future. And Davin, she actually started a Facebook page. It's called Mobs. It's called Mothers of Black Sons. And it's just amazing how this particular page has blown up from just 10 people being invited to now it has 82,000.
2,000 as of a minute.
Yeah, as of a minute ago. Within what? How long has the page been, Shari?
It hasn't even been a week.
No.
And I know that when she did it, it was just 10 of her close friends, people who she knew that had kids. And from her adding us, we started adding people, and she can't believe how fast it's grown.
It is amazing. I think I was number like 33. And then I went to bed and I woke up and it was in the thousands.
Yeah.
Yes, and
Yeah.
then and I remember when she said, we are now at 45,000, and now it's taking a mind of its own. And I love reading the stories of other African American moms who post pictures of their sons, and it's a place that we could share our pictures and to even hear tragic stories of mothers who lost not only 1 son but like both of their sons. And one young lady posted in there, she lost both her boys, I think within a 16-day time period.
Wow.
One had died on January 1st, 2014, and the next one I think died on January 19th or 18th of the same exact year and month.
Wow.
But it's a great place to be able to see, and people don't realize just the fear that even African American mothers have, when their children go out, and not just our sons but our husbands,
brothers.
yeah, when they go out, our prayer is that they, return home safely, and how we have to give our boys now instructions when they are confronted with a police officer. And I want to just give hats off to Pastor Bob Balian, who on yesterday gave such a poignant message. He's the pastor of Bayside Midtown, and he did it for all 3 services. And in 2 of the services, they did have people who did walk out of the service, because he is not an African American, but he spoke on the African American pain and frustration that we have felt throughout the years, and how this has been boiling over for years. He took them back to the Watts riots, to all the way up to Eric Garner, to what's happening today, and how African Americans feel like we have no justice, we don't have a voice. And through this, a lot of the frustration is coming through. And in no wise did he and I just want to make sure I say this, in no wise did he condone the killing of police officers, because he works with the police officers as well. But what he did for me as an African American woman was he acknowledged our pain.
Acknowledgement. That's it.
Wow.
Acknowledge.
He acknowledged it, and he acknowledged why we feel this way, and he acknowledged our pain. And I think that's where it starts as well. I'm over here, I'm hurting. Do you see me? Do you see how I feel? And that was a huge step. And I'm just speaking as a mom, because I wrote in the Mobs the year that my son was born, before I found out I was pregnant with my son. I was really engulfed in the Trayvon Martin situation. I listened to all the tapes, you know what I mean? And although I didn't have a son at the time, and I didn't even know if I was pregnant at all, but for that mom to hear her son screaming for help and nobody came, and then you hear a gunshot go off, and then you hear total silence. And for this man to get off after what he did to Trayvon Martin. Now, by this time, I am pregnant, and by this time, I knew I was having a son. And I cried as if that was my son. Mm-hmm. I was hurting. I was in pain, because this was the world I was bringing my son into. And for this young man to go to the store like any other young man, to go and buy some Skittles and something to drink, and he got a hoodie on because it's sprinkling at night. So, who wouldn't put a hat on or a hoodie on because it's sprinkling? And then to be made to feel like you don't belong in a neighborhood that your father actually lives in. And then for somebody to be following you. He had every right, because I don't want anybody following me either. And then for him to be confronted as if he should not be in this neighborhood, and then to be killed, that could be anybody's son.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And especially a child that you carry for 9 months, a child that you alone nourished before he even came into this world, for the father to even bottle feed him. And as a mother of African-American son, it's like, okay, as you get older, we can give you everything we possibly can, and something could still happen. Mm-hmm. And I'm not sure if I'm the only mom that feels that way. Mm-hmm. So that's why I wanted to talk about it today. You have an 18-year-old son. You have 6 boys. Mm-hmm. So I can't even imagine for you. I know what I feel about my one, but Shari, I just want you to go ahead and speak as a mother of 6 boys.
I think that's what Dr. Davin came up with mobs, is because how are we going to protect our boys? How is the mothers going to step up, and not even step up, but how can we protect our boys? It's to the point where we're having conversations with our sons on what not to do. Mm-hmm. If someone pull you over, put your hands down, you tell them to reach in the car and get your registration. That's what I'm telling my sons. I don't know. I don't want my boys to be afraid of the police, mm-hmm. and I also don't want them to think that the police is the enemy.
Right.
But how do we talk to our boys and tell them what to do and what not to do? Because even if you don't do anything, you still may get shot. Mm-hmm. Even if you tell them, okay, sir, I'm reaching for my wallet, or I'm reaching for what do you say? My girlfriend Linda and I was talking about how can we take our boys to the police station and let the officers know who they are. Mm-hmm. Like I'm planning on taking all my boys down to the police station, Elk Grove PD, and introducing my boys to these officers. And if I gotta go every other day until they get to know who my boys are, I don't really know what the solution is. I'm afraid. My one boy's about to start driving in a second. I tell him all the time, don't walk down the street. I live literally like 5 minutes away from my salon. Mm-hmm. And so I tell him, don't walk down the street with a hoodie on. You can't do that. Well, mommy, Caleb can't. Well, you can't. Mm-hmm. Caleb can. You can't. Mm-hmm. And it's sad because some of my boys don't understand. And my oldest boy, he's reading what's going on. He's listening to the news. He gets it. And I'm starting to feel like he's starting to become angry.
Yeah. Yep.
And I don't want that anger to build up in him. Yeah. So I'm kind of clueless too. I really don't know what to do.
And as I was telling my daughter on yesterday, I said, through it all, we do need the police. Absolutely. I said, and I was telling her, I said, although people have a lot of anger with the police officers, but we need them. Like I said, we have a home alarm. So if someone breaks in our home, my prayer is that the police do come.
Absolutely.
If somebody robs me, the first person I'm calling is the police. Mm-hmm. So we definitely need the police no matter what's going on. We need them. And we pray that when they come, they do protect and serve. So I don't want my kids growing up saying that they hate the officer, because if something happens to you, that's who you need to call.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we still need to respect the badge and the authority that goes behind it. But then how do we handle the abuse of the authority?
And they are good officers.
Correct.
They're really good officers
Correct.
out there. But we do have ones who don't need that badge.
Right.
They don't need it.
Because I know yesterday I did a video and I was so busy crying because I was thinking about officers that I know personally. And in just killing of officers, we all know that is not the way to go to kill officers or have someone else suffer for what someone else did.
Not even
I do not support that at all. Because I have a friend, his name is Nathan White. He is Caucasian. He's a California highway patrolman. And God forbid if I hear that something happened to him because he was an officer and because he was Caucasian. And I love his wife. She used to be one of my assistants when I pastored out of church. And to hear that something happened to that beautiful family all because he was an officer, I don't even know how I would handle that, because he is such a great guy with a heart of gold. And there are many police officers out there. So don't don't make someone else suffer because of someone else. Because wouldn't we hate that retaliation in our community
Exactly.
if African American males are being killed because of what's happening in Baton Rouge
Exactly.
and because of what's happening in Dallas? I would hate for it to be my brother or my husband suffering because of what somebody else did.
Well, in reality, that's what's happening. But we can't do the same thing they're doing to us.
Correct.
Because a lot of our brothers, a lot of black men are being killed just because they're black. They're being pulled over just because they're black. They're getting arrested just because they're black. We can't turn around and do the same thing that we're so angry about. Why they're doing that to us? We can't do
do
that.
it.
We can't do it. We have to figure out a way to cure this without infusing hate. We have to.
And you have to, because if you've ever been in deep pain, you really don't wish that on your worst enemy. If you've ever felt deep pain. And I know I don't want to wish anything that I've ever been through on my worst enemy. Indeed, after the break, we're going to come back to you because I want to hear from you. You have a son who's 18 and considered an adult. So you don't even have the intervention of mom anymore.
The anxiety is real.
Right. You know, he's not considered a juvenile. He is considered an adult. So I want to talk to you when we come back. And if you want to chime in on the conversation when we come back, give us a call at 916-921-5333. You're inside the Girls Club with Lady Charmaine and girlfriends.
Lady Charmaine live on Friday now.
You're watching a Rich Girl Dreams production.